What's up guys, today we're going to be talking about chapter 1083 of One Piece, The Truth of That Day. This will contain spoilers for the chapter, so make sure you read it before you begin. This chapter is exactly what we want from a cliffhanger. We actually get to see some resolution. Again, this chapter is without our main protagonists. I don't think we've seen them for like almost 2 months, but at this point, I anticipate we probably won't go back to Egghead until they reveal some new world-shattering character or event that just changes the perspective that's going in to Egghead, or when we go back into Egghead. Basically, I could read these chapters for a long time without the Straw Hats and never get bored. I wouldn't mind seeing an entire chapter or maybe even an arc about what's going on in the Marine headquarters and how they're about to face the threat that they have. But this chapter starts off with Sabo's flashback. The way this is shaping is, it may seem to be like a little mini arc, like Odin's backstory, but this one is explaining what happened during the Reverie in its entirety and what is happening in the parties involved in our current timeline. And still, this left us with way more questions than answers. The main one is, who are the Holy Knights, and when will they finally step into the fray? I'm also seeing a lot of people comparing Shanks to one of the silhouettes of the Holy Knights, and I don't know. I really don't want to get into all of that. Shanks very much could be a Holy Knight, or a kid of a Holy Knight, or maybe even a clone of a Holy Knight, but that's just too much to speculate. You know how Oda is with his silhouettes. He basically just makes the silhouette so that we keep speculating, and then he gets to be creative with the character design as the story continues, and then he'll reveal it the way he wants to reveal it later on. And I'm not buying into it, Oda. Not this time, anyway. What I was really interested in was Karasu. We actually got to see a little teeny bit of Karasu back in chapter 593. He was the Raven delivering this message right here, and he most likely was these two Ravens here in the middle of this meeting. And when I saw those two Ravens, I thought of Odin, Hugin, and Munin, so I thought maybe there's just some, ancient mythic Zoan out there. And his personal design, he makes me think of like disease and death, like back in the Middle Ages when the doctors used to use those plague masks to treat the ill, specifically during the bubonic plague. And it actually makes me think of that nursery rhyme, because my 2-year-old is still singing it nowadays. The ring around the rosies, a pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Now, the description is basically what they saw during the bubonic plague. Rings around a rosy-colored blemish was the common symptoms. Posies were used by the plague doctors to try to mask the scent. Of course, the ashes were them burning dead bodies, and ultimately nothing really helped. They all just fell down dead, or at least a huge population did. And knowing that, when we look at this design again and his ability, we can really make more of a guess as to his nature as a devil fruit. He is described in the fan translation as a soot man. Soot is basically non-totally burned up carbon. It is described as amorphous without clearly defined shape. I think Karasu is choosing to make his soot look like crows, and I don't know why, but it just basically continues that symbolism of disease and death that's just written all over this guy's face. The only thing that makes me second guess that is the fact that he can make his crows talk, but besides that, it totally works. And who knows, maybe Katakuri can make his mochi talk. But this is a very cool devil fruit. It could be a special paramecia or a logia, or even the legendary Zoan Yatagarasu, which is a divine messenger from the god Amaterasu. What's really cool is how he uses his ability. He sends out crows to instruct this guy to escape while he can, and tanks a ton of bullets from the CP agents, and then even turns into streaks of soot to get around his enemies without them knowing, and then deliver devastating attacks. Amazing offense, crazy defense, and utility. This may just be the perfect devil fruit, guys. And after that, we get to see a glimpse of the revolutionary commanders combating Admiral Greenboo and Fujitora, and the admirals seem to be struggling a little bit because they're conflicted between trying to save Mary Joie and kill the bad guys, or, at least, capture the bad guys. And the revolutionaries are able to achieve their goals and escape with their lives, namely due to the handicap that these Tenryubito have placed on the admirals. And this is a huge flaw for the real effectiveness of the admirals. They're basically only like walking, talking nukes at this point. We've only really seen them in action when they're threatening entire islands or kingdoms, or punching holes in your brother. When put into a delicate situation, they almost have negative effect due to their destructive nature of their fruits. The revolutionaries, however, are perfectly suited for both infiltration without detection and open combat, especially Karasu. And we end the chapter setting up a reveal of what really happened to King Cobra, why Vivi is with Morgan, and basically what led up to where we are now. And it seems that Shirahoshi is the key again. Charlos just won't let go, man. He really wants her as a pet, and he will have her. After getting punched in the face by Luffy, you'd think that he'd be a better person by now. Next week, I totally hope we continue this flashback, and I expect that it will reveal more than just what happened to Cobra, but it will probably tip us off on the government's intentions and maybe what they're planning on doing right away. And make sure you're subscribed so you won't miss our chapter review next week, and drop some likes if you like this video, and share with your friends who also love One Piece. I'll see you next week. Peace.